Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to our ISKCON official YouTube channel. Today I am going to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 21st chapter, text 1 onwards. This is Venu geet. And Krishna Sisukovacha Itang Saraswatsa Jalam Padmakara Sugandhina Nirvisad Vayuna Bhatam Sago Gopalako Chutaha. That means Sukadeva Goswami said, thus the Vrindavan forest was filled with transparent autumnal waters and cooled by breezes perfumed with the fragrance of lotus flowers growing in the clear lakes. The infallible Lord, accompanied by his own and cowherd boy friends, entered the Vrindavan forest. So in the purport, Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, in this chapter, that is 21st chapter of 10th canto, describes how the gopis, being pained by Krishna's flute song, repeatedly sing the glories of that flute. It may, in this connection, I may say that Lord, no one can be compared with Lord Krishna, because Krishna has special four opulence, Madhuri. What are those? First, out of those four Madhuris, Venu Madhuri is one of them. So we will be listening to this Venu Madhuri in this chapter. So they also praise the animals, demigoddesses and the forest of Vrindavan. Although staying in the village, the gopis relate with what they see through the transcendental eyes of their hearts, namely the various charming pastimes Krishna enacts upon entering the forest of Vrindavan. After describing the beauty of the autumn season, Sukadeva Goswami first describes Krishna's entrance into the Vrindavan forest, which is decorated with the sweetness of autumn, before portraying the pastimes of Krishna's flute song, which is intimately related to it. The wind became fragrant and cool by passing over the lotus-filled lakes. Krishna, along with his cows and cowherd boys, entered the forest permeated by this sweetly scented breeze. The word Vayuna is singular instead of plural to indicate a very gentle breeze. The word Madhupati of the next verse is the subject of this verse. If the alternate reading of this verse substitutes the words Vanam for Achyuta. So, there are a lot of commentators and commenting. So I would like to give comments of Sanatana Goswami from Brihad Vaishnava Dosani, where he says the natural quality of water, clarity and attractiveness manifested because it was pure. The wind was cool, blowing and gently and fragrant because of the lakes filled with blossoming lotuses and the forest. So in the next verse, it may be in this connection it may be stated that it is also mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 17th chapter, text 2:10. This verse is quoted by Krishna Kaviraj Goswami. So in verse 2 it said that Kusumita Vanaraji Susumi Bhringa Dvija Kulagushta Sarasarin Mahindram Madhupatir Avagaya Charangaha Sapasu Pala Balas Chukujo Venum Kunandamaravindam Dadayatakhyam Chukuja Venu. The lakes, rivers and the hills of Vrindavan resounded with the sounds of maiden bees and flocks of birds moving about the flowering trees in the company of the cowherd boys and Balaram. Madhupati, that is Sri Krishna, entered the forest, and while herding the cows, he began to vibrate his flute. That is most important. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Saraswati Santika says, as Krishna and Madhupati entered Avagahya, the forest, with its mountains, lakes, rivers, and flowering groves, he skillfully blended his flute song with the lovely sounds of Vrindavan's chirping birds and buzzing bees. The word Madhupati means the Lord of Spring, the month of Madhu. The influence is that when Krishna, the personification of spring, entered the forest in the autumn, the forest became beautiful with spring flowers. Krishna went along with Balaram and the cowherd boys, Sapasapala, to herd the cows, Gocharani, but it is not mentioned here that they played flutes. Only Krishna played the flute. Therefore, the Venu geet, a song of the flute and title of this chapter, came from Krishna's flute only, Venu geet. So, Srila Sanatana Goswami in Brihad Vaishnava Dushan says, the setting is a stimulus for love. The previous verse mentioned that he entered the forest and remained there. This indicates daily pastimes there. He played his flute and the gopis' response is mentioned in the next verse. Sa go gopalakaha of the previous verse refers to Madhupati in this verse. Are overcome by bhava because of describing the pastimes. Sukadeva couldn't utter directly Krishna's name. In verse 5 also his name is not mentioned for the same reason. Chitsuka accepts the person with Achyuta as Lord in the Jadavas, Lord of the Jadavas. Herding cows is not possible. Herding cows suggests a special rasa filled with affection for the devotees. Thus Madhupati can also mean Lord of a special intoxicating rasa. The word suggests that Krishna was intoxicated and caused intoxication. Krishna entered into the forest completely into its very nature with the cowards, and Balaram he played the flute. They all played together with the boys, and Balaram he herded the cows and played the flute alone. Prati shloki pratyakhyana nanarthaka. So in verse 3, in this connection I may say that from 3 to 20, these 18 verses, Gopi's remembrance of Krishna's transcendental qualities. And from 7 to 19, these 13 verses, Venu Gita. In verse 3 it says that Tad Braja Striya Asrutya Venu Gitam Smarodayam Kasit Parokhyam Krishnasya Sho Sakibhyo Anuvarnayan. That is when the young ladies in the cowherd village of Braja heard the song of Krishna's flute, which arouses the influence of Cupid. Some of them privately began describing Krishna's qualities and to their intimate friends. 100 billion, 100 crore gopis who performed rasa dance with the Lord, you describe. So, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Saraswati Santika says, hearing Krishna's flute song, the gopis began describing indirectly to their friends about Krishna entering the forest. The word Parokhya is used because the gopis were located far away from Krishna in the village of Braja. So, Sanatana Goswami in Brihad Vaishnava Dushan says, at that place the gopis began to describe him constantly, or began describing the flute after hearing his flute. The cause is mentioned. The song of the flute manifested his love or remembrance of the gopis, Smarodayam, or seeing the water, etc., or the song caused an appearance of desire in the gopis. Though Krishna's nature is always like this, now because of manifesting a special bhava, a special playing of the flute, this occurred. Therefore, at this time the gopis began to speak. Hearing the flute song, which is filled with the Krishna's special love for them, or which was most enchanting, they began describing him because the sound manifested love. The women of Braja or living Braja heard from far off or heard indistinctly the song, since it was filled with Krishna's special desire for a strong love for them, or they slightly heard the song of flute or heard the song by the flute. The sound of the flute manifested as a song because it seemed to sing with a special grace on its own by the touch of Krishna's lips. Some of them endowed with special bhava, such as Radha, began describing Krishna through all the women. Though all the women of Braja heard the flute, some felt parental affection, not conjugal love. Thus, those women are not included in the gopis who began describing Krishna in this chapter. They described him in private, parokhyam, to their friends such as Lalita, or they described Krishna to give happiness to their friends. By making their friends happy, they would become happy. So thank you very much for listening to this lecture, and please don't forget to subscribe, share and like our channel and get the blessings of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.